It is day 4 of 50 and I'm feeling great, you guys. So I just noticed that I felt really energized when I woke up, and more of an like emotional energy boost, because physically I still feel pretty drained, and I'm pretty sure that has a lot to do with like my thyroid. But emotionally I felt really energized and really positive and excited about the results that I can get and that I'm going to get, and that I'm hoping that I can help other people get, and some new ideas I have for the channel and some things that I want to talk about. Because as I've said before, my channel is called The Fool from Timbuktu because that's the name that I chose, and I kind of talked about that in a previous video. But it's not called anything to do with weight loss, because it's not all about weight loss, because I understand the importance of overall health, and I think it's really important, and I think that it's all tied together, which is why I want to start in this way and help in this way and share information about nutrition and properly fueling our bodies, because I know that it ties into our mental health. But I think our mental health is something that needs to be talked about, that needs to be open. We need to open the lines of communication, make it safe for people to talk about mental illness, to talk about ways to address it, and not always going to the doctor and getting a prescription. Like I said, I think that our health can be addressed in other ways. And even if it's just talking to someone in your family or talking to a therapist, some of us do need that kind of help with our mental illnesses. But just addressing them head on and not hiding from them or not feeling stigmatized by it. In my community, the Black community, there's a lot of stigma around mental health issues. It's either completely ignored, or it's thought of as like a huge weakness, and it's just something that I want to do something about, because I've struggled for years, and I know that there are people who struggle alone. And then lately people have been dying because people are committing like suicide, even kids. And I mean, I think it's all relative. Like, our world is changing, and there's all this social media and so many things to like conform to, and it's just so much more to deal with, I think, emotionally. And so I feel like we have to be able to address this stuff, and I want to talk about it. I do. And I want to hear from you guys about what you guys want to talk about. And I want to hear from you guys about what you think, because we can learn things from each other. I'm not here to act like I'm the expert, and I don't want to hear what anyone else has to say. I always want to hear what other people have to say, because I know there's still so much for me to learn. That's why I'm called the Fool from Timbuktu, because I don't know everything. There's still so much for me to learn. I'm going to be learning until I'm no longer here. And I'm going to have fun doing it. I'm going to enjoy it, because I like gathering information, collecting information, and I like sharing it as well. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments if any of this stuff is something that you guys are interested in, or you guys have questions about or not. But I like to share it because I did find success with weight loss, and I do incorporate a lot of the things that I learned when I was doing keto, because a lot of it can be really nutritionally sound and nutrient dense, as I said before. So anyway, I talk about it a lot, and I wanted to give a couple of things that were going through my mind about it. So something that I'm hoping is not as prevalent as it was before, but I heard a lot when I was doing keto, and I learned really early on you don't need to increase your fat intake. A lot of times people will be saying things like up your fats and things like that when you're doing keto and you're having a hard time getting into ketosis, which is also why I'm sharing something else at the end of this video from my weigh-in this morning. But anyway, so a lot of times people will say things just because they heard somebody else say them about upping your fats. You need to increase your fats, eat more coconut oil, eat more of this. Well, at the end of the day, we are trying to decrease our weight and our overall fat on our bodies. So increasing your fat intake is very counterintuitive to a goal like that. So what I think people mean or should be trying to say is to increase the ratio of fat to protein to carbs when you're finding yourself having a hard time getting into ketosis. So whereas they're just telling you to increase your fat, eat more coconut oil, they're meaning, or they should be telling you to eat less of something else and more of coconut oil. So say you're eating too much protein, you want to decrease that and increase your fat intake to get back to your calorie goal. Or you want to decrease how much carbs you're eating and increase the amount of coconut oil or eggs. Eggs are a good option when you're trying to be in ketosis because they have a large, the ratio of fat to protein and all that kind of stuff is really good. They have very little carbs in them, so they're a good option. And I recently learned how to make ramen eggs, and I'm going to be sharing. Well, I'm not all the way there because I didn't really, the soft-boiled egg was not successful, but the whole marinating part of it was very successful. It came out delicious, and the first thing that came to my head was an egg fast. I could survive one now. I actually have survived one egg fast, but it was pretty awful for me because I like eggs, but I couldn't really do eggs all the time because I'm just kind of iffy about them. And so when I tried that ramen egg, it was delicious, you guys. So, I mean, if you do find yourself on an egg fast, then you have to try that out. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, that was one of the tips that I wanted to give because I have a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, that is doing keto. I have a lot of friends that are doing keto, but a lot of them are veterans. They've been doing it forever. But my best friend just started doing keto recently, and I just thought, well, if someone is doing keto, new to keto, something like that, and they're trying to get into ketosis, please don't buy into the whole eat more fat, which inevitably means eat more calories. We don't want to overdo the calories because even though hormones do play a part of it, so you don't want to just be consuming tons of fat and tons of calories. So that's a tip that I thought that I would share. And then I wanted to, before I go, the other thing was to wish you guys a great Sunday fun day, and then ask you guys to comment below with questions or anything you guys want me to talk about on my channel, because I'm still feeling my way through this whole thing, and obviously I want to be giving information that is useful to people. And one of my biggest main objectives of my channel is to spread information about weight loss and the benefits of it and different ways you can do it and just being healthy and whole. And I just feel like a lot of the issue of obesity is lack of information. People on autopilot too. We're constantly being bombarded with commercials for McDonald's and KFC, even our kids, Go-Gurts and cereal and all of this stuff. And it's just like most of us don't even stop it to think to look at the nutrition facts on the things we buy for ourselves and for our kids. I am guilty of that myself, and I just want people to open their eyes to this situation we're in, because we are in a situation. The obesity rates are disastrous right now. Like, people are dying, you guys, so we need to do something about it. And not to mention how many people are suffering from anxiety, deficiencies, and things that we're calling diseases can easily be cured by not stuffing ourselves with sugar. Not to mention the fact that there are studies that to show that our brains react to sugar very similarly to the way it reacts to cocaine. And the thought of that should scare you. It scares me. So, I think there's something we need to do, you guys. It is Sunday, September 22nd. I just want to make sure that I note the date. As you guys can see, I'm not in ketosis, but I did want to show you guys that I do believe in ketosis, obviously, because I believe in fasting and the benefits of fasting and ketosis and autophagy and all that stuff that I'll talk about in some later videos more in depth. But I want to say how ketosis and these ketone strips and all those keto measuring things can be great, but they're not necessary. And I just want to show that you don't have to be in ketosis all day. I yesterday started with a weight of 208.6, and today, even though I'm not in ketosis, when I checked my weight, I am down another 0.8 pounds. And that's not to include, I apologize in advance for the TMI, but I have not been able to get rid of all the waste in my stomach yet. So I'm trying to drink a lot of water and tea and trying to get that stuff moving. Like I told you guys, I'm having problems with my thyroid. So that is obviously, or not obviously, but it is in fact causing that problem. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, that ketosis is not a requirement for weight loss. So people give it a lot of power, but moving in and out of ketosis is just fine. You can still get really good results. And I also want to show how fast you can get into ketosis, because ketosis is a good state to be in sometimes, but I think it's something that you can move in and out of and be just fine. At the end of the day, I hope you like this video. I hope you found something helpful. Please share it with a friend. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys next.